She's just like any other woman. You gotta learn how to caress them and stroke them right.
I've actually got like butterflies in my tummy leaving this anchorage right now. The Sea of Cortez is crazy. Second, we got some pretty big swells coming in behind us. So.
This is gonna be a rough night sail, but I think it's the best thing to do.
This is not how we wanted to end this episode.
Another day, another anchorage. Generally, we enjoy the less crowded, remote, and more slow-paced vibe. But it's always interesting stumbling back into city life to take in the atmosphere and energy it brings, especially when it's a beautiful city like this one, full of culture, style, and loads of activities to enjoy.
Welcome back, guys, to Vida Gypsea.
Hey, guys.
We are coming to you from La Paz. We have actually been in La Paz for quite some time because we've had some...
distracted,
Yeah, we had some friends come by and we put the camera away. Didn't really want to impose on their vacation, so we took a break for a while. But La Paz is great. It's one of those towns that comes to life after the sun goes down because it's really hot here during the day. And when the sun does go down, all the entertainment seems to center around the Malecon, which we're on right now. It's a place where everybody comes out and exercises. They walk their dogs. Rigby loves it here, getting to meet all the other dogs. And there's rooftop bars and restaurants that line the Malecon. So we've enjoyed stopping and having a beer and watching the sights and people watching.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
That's all we can say. It's great.
But this is the only part of the Sea of Cortez we've really seen is just La Paz and a couple of the neighboring anchorages. So it's time to get up and go see some more. We're gonna move north, pick up the anchor tomorrow, and go check out what's out there.
It's out there.
We like to start our sailing days with a good breakfast to fuel up our bodies and doing a quick sweep around LVG to get her prepared as well.
This is how you can tell that we have not gone anywhere in a long time. We usually cover all our helm equipment when we are planning on squatting for a long time at an anchorage, and we've been here for a little bit too long, way longer than we wanted to, but it's fine. Is that dust down there?
All right, before we crank the engines up, like I've always said, you gotta check the fluids. You gotta make sure that everything's good, your belts are good, your fluids are good, and then we'll crank it up. We thought we were having some issues with one of our engines the last time we were cruising, but it seemed to clear itself up. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe it was just cavitating. And then when our friends came over, our friend is actually a diesel mechanic, or that's his hobby. He rebuilds and builds diesel engines, and I had him go through the engines and take a look at them, and everything seems to be working great. All the systems on the boat seem to be working well right now. Knock on wood. This boat has been treating us really well because she's just like any other woman. You got to learn how to caress them and stroke them right. And I'm learning all the hot buttons on this boat, and I am learning how to caress this boat, and she is treating us like kings.
How about you go push that hot button and turn these engines on and get us out of here?
I'm gonna get all these buttons pushed.
I've actually got like butterflies in my tummy leaving this anchorage right now as we're leaving this channel, because I just realized that this is the first time we're leaving La Paz and going out into the Sea of Cortez without guests, without other people's time frames, on our own terms, doing our excursions where we want and when we want. And the first impressions so far, even though we've had people over and things like that, have been great. This place is beautiful. There's always something to complain about, and we'll give you guys our first impressions throughout the day today. But so far, so good, and I'm pretty stoked.
As we left left the anchorage of La Paz, we were sent off in style by an excited little stingray that appeared to be waving us goodbye. Or maybe it had an itch and it couldn't scratch it. Either way, the sailing conditions were calm and still, which allowed us some time to take in the sights and experience something very special.
Oh my goodness, you guys. We're just a few miles away from La Paz, cruising along. Kurt sees something in the water. We thought it was a dolphin. Quickly realized it was not a dolphin. It's a sea lion. I have been waiting for this moment to see one in the wild, and we haven't seen one. It's actually breeding season right now, so there's tons of them out, but if you see them, you are not allowed to get close to them. You can scoot up close on a dinghy or a little boat, but you can't get in the water with them. So when we look out, we see there's a big rock out there, and I can hear them. They're like very loud and audible, and it's so cool. So we are going to respect the boundaries. Kurt's gonna launch that drone, and he's gonna get me as virtually close to these sea lions as we can possibly get to. That being said, that is one of the first impressions that we are very excited about here in the Sea of Cortez. It is known for its dramatic beauty of scenery and its really cool wildlife, and first day out on our own, and we get to see some pretty cool wildlife, so that's a win. I can't see them up close, but I'm looking at them on the drone, and they're so cute, you guys. They're so cute, and it looks so beautiful, that water over there. They're frolicking on their tummies, playing. I wish it was the season so we can get up there and go swim with them, but if this is as close as I'm gonna get, I'm happy. I get entertained easily. This day's just getting better and better. First we see some sea lions, now we see a pod of dolphins. The Sea of Cortez is crazy.
Well, it took a little while for the winds to pick up, but they finally picked up today, and we are sailing right along to our next destination, which today is Cabeza de Mechudo. I believe that's right. We'll put it we'll put it in the text
on
there.
the text below.
Yeah, the reason we're going to Cabeza de Mechudo and not to these beautiful islands behind us, we have Isla Partida and Isla Espiritu Santo, but these islands behind us are part of the national park system here in Mexico. And that's kind of one of our first impressions as we got into the Sea of Cortez. They're doing a great job of conservation and of making these islands protected and having, national park areas that are protected. But the drawback is these areas don't allow dogs. They don't allow dogs on the islands. They don't allow dogs on the beaches. And Rigby is a beach dog. And we could not, in good conscience, go to these beaches and leave her locked in the boat. So it's kind of bittersweet, but we're just going to sail right past them and find some other beautiful locations to enjoy here in the Sea of Cortez.
Some natural air conditioning. One thing that was a bad impression of this area of the Sea of Cortez is that it's hot. And it's not just hot, all of Mexico is hot, but this is a dry heat, you guys. There's like no humidity in the air. Rigby and I have been having a really hard time acclimating to it. For me, it's my eyes. Because it's so dry, my skin is getting dry constantly, my lips are chapping, and also my eyes burn all the time. I had to buy eye drops. I had to keep putting them on every few hours just so that I could be able to see. So you can add that onto the cons of the Sea of Cortez. what the rest of the people in the Sea of Cortez or Baja, California look like, but the first impressions we got from the people in La Paz is that those guys are fit. Every night we would go walking, walk Rigby, or just walk down the Malecon, and we'd see people playing volleyball, we'd see people running, we'd see people rollerblading, we'd see people doing Zumba, and Kurt and I were just romantically strolling. We walked a lot, but it didn't really help us out in the fit department. It was just a nice walk. So I'm actually looking forward to going out and hiking. We've seen a lot of our cruiser friends post pictures and things online of beautiful hiking spots, mountains, all the Sierra Mountains, and really cool looking rocks and formations all up and down the Sea of Cortez. So I'm hoping we're gonna be able to get a little bit more of our fit life back during the summer so that we can get our summer bod, because right now I've got a cruiser bod.
Another thing that we have noticed here in the Sea of Cortez is that the weather can be a little bit crazy. We are coming up here to the Sea of Cortez in order to escape the hurricanes. It gives us a bit of protection up here in the Sea of Cortez, because by the time the hurricanes reach up here, go through the narrow waters of the sea and hit the mountains on either side, they tend to lose their power. So that's why a lot of cruisers come up here during the hurricane season, is to avoid the hurricanes. However, you're walking right into a few other types of storms. We have already experienced the Coronel winds, which aren't really a storm. It's just the winds that are coming from the cooler Pacific Ocean water and sweeping over the landmass into the warmer Bay of La Paz. Those winds have hit us up to 30 knots in the evening. Really provide some rough anchorages at night if you don't get in an anchorage with the protection from a southwest wind. Up north in the Sea of Cortez, you also have two other storm formations called the Elefantes and the Chubascos. You can get hit with 30 to 50 knot winds, and it's kind of out of nowhere. They don't give you a whole lot of advance notice when these things are coming. So that's why they can be as dangerous or more dangerous than a hurricane, because you don't get the advance warning. You can't prepare your boat, and all of a sudden you're hit with these big storms. They do not last long, but they can be violent. So we've got to really be vigilant and keep our eyes open for these storms that could hit us up in the Sea of Cortez.
So I think we've kind of mentioned already that we were really looking forward to checking out the different landscape in the Sea of Cortez. And coming into the anchorage this afternoon, we are being treated again to some epic backdrops. We've seen some fantastic views in some of the anchorages that we've already been at, and coming into this new anchorage, it looks like it's just the gift that keeps on giving, because check this out. Oh boy, we just got here, and just coming in here nice and slow. I'll show you guys here in a second. We got some pretty big swells coming in behind us, so this may mean that we have a rolling night. I don't know if we can...
The swells aren't going to show up on the camera, but
the swells...
They're not bad, but they're going to be uncomfortable.
All right, Captain says they're not bad, but they're going to be uncomfortable, which for regular people, it means it's going to be bad.
Well, guys, like I mentioned earlier, we didn't really have Cabeza de Machudo on our list of top places that we wanted to go, but this is a good anchorage on our way up north, and it is an anchorage that's friendly for Rigby, and so that's why we came here. But one of the reasons why it wasn't necessarily on the top list is you can see we are pretty wide open to the ocean. We are not well protected here as far as anything coming from the east or the north goes, but I did like it because if we do get any of those southwest Coromel winds that we were talking about, we are well protected in that direction. So directly behind us here, we've got the mountains, we have a beach, and so if the winds change tonight and start blowing from the southwest with those Coromel winds, we will be able to sleep well. If, however, we get the winds coming from the east, then we are directly open to it with no protection at all. So it's always a crapshoot, but right now I'm going to go get the paddleboard aired up and go take Rigby to explore the beach.
Notice how he says, I'm gonna inflate the paddleboard so that I can take Rigby to the beach, but he didn't offer one time to take me to the beach or to take my paddleboard and inflate it so that I can join them on the beach. I don't want to go to the beach. I want to clean up the kitchen while he's taking Rigby to the beach so that I can mess it up again to make some dinner. That's what I'm gonna do. I'll go to the beach mañana. Mañana, mañana, mañana. Have a good beach trip.
From the time that we have anchored here and explored the beach to getting back on the boat, the swell here in this anchorage is increasing more and more. We had no swell when we were sailing today, and now it just keeps getting larger and larger, and it's getting uncomfortable. So we may change our plans and head for a different anchorage. We haven't decided quite yet, but I really don't want to go to sleep in this swell. But before I pick up this anchor, I'm already getting a bit hungry. I've got to get myself energized and get some sustenance in me before we start sailing all night. And it's starting to smell like Linda's cooking in here, so let's see what she's got going on.
I don't know what your plan is, but my plan right now is to focus on dinner. No matter what we do, whether we pick up anchor or not, we need to eat. So I'm gonna take advantage that even though it's pretty rolly, we're not moving and underway. So I'm gonna make us a nice, good dinner. And on the menu, we've got a green salad that I'm working on right now. We've got some pork chops that I'm gonna fry up really quickly. And I actually found some plantains in a supermarket in Mexico. It's the first time that I see a plantain in 9 months. And as a Dominican, this is like the happiest day of my life right now. So and we have a lot of food on board for now. I think I did a good job at provisioning because, as you guys saw, this anchorage is pretty empty and barren, and that's pretty much what the rest of the Sea of Cortez is gonna look like. There's no grocery stores, there's really not much out there. So I worked really hard on trying to make sure that our galley is nice and stocked to save us a little bit of money. And not only to save us a little bit of money, to feed us, because yeah, like I said, no restaurants, no food. So yeah, that's what I meant to say. I'm actually looking forward to cooking again on the boat for 2 reasons. One, to kind of be a little bit healthier and controlling what we're doing, because we have been going out and spending and eating all sorts of yummy things in La Paz, but also to see if we can save a little bit of money during the summer, because one thing we noticed as soon as we crossed from Mazatlan to the Sea of Cortez, our first beer we bought at the beach, we really quickly saw how expensive it is over here on this side. I don't know if it's because California's right there, if it's because the whole Baja coast, especially down in Cabo and La Paz and that area, is really touristy, but oh my gosh, like the beers are twice as much, the food is twice as much. Yeah, it really blew our minds.
Well, these swells are not getting any better. In fact, they really are getting us kind of woozy, and so we're gonna eat this lovely dinner that Linda made us, and then we are gonna pick up anchor and take off and head further north. If we don't find a better anchorage, then at least we'll be sailing through the night and in this conditions and not worried about all the swell while we're at anchor. The only problem is I wasn't prepared for a night sail, so I did not nap today. I did not, get enough sleep last night, so I'm pretty tired. So this is going to be a rough night sail, but I think it's the best thing to do. I think we'll both it'll put our minds at ease if we're moving and looking for a better spot, because this is just not comfortable at all.
this is not how we wanted to end this episode. We had a wonderful sundowner planned for you guys. We were gonna show you a beautiful anchorage and send you guys off on a good note. Instead, as soon as this camera turns off, I'm going to bed because we are trying to make this night shift very short. So we're doing 2 hours every time because as soon as 5 o'clock in the morning comes, we're dropping anchor wherever we see it because we are not prepared. I know you guys are probably thinking, why don't you guys just stay here, stay the night, you've been traveling all day. But honestly, when anchorages are this rolly, we don't sleep anyway. We're up all night looking out the window and worrying about it. So it's probably for the best that we just pick up anchor and keep heading north. So thank you guys so much for stopping by and following us and checking out our content and watching our videos. And make sure that you guys hit like. And patrons, thanks so much for everything.
Thank you so much.
And make sure you guys hit subscribe. I'm obviously rambling because I'm nervous about this night shift, so please forgive this whole thing. We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.